This is Mac OS Ken.
iPhone sales go on a tear. iPhone production in India seems to be firing on all cylinders. And WWDC goes on a tour. It is Monday, the 16th of June, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code MacOSCan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. One could get motion sickness following the fortunes of iPhone in China. Consumers there love them. Wait, there's a story in the Middle Kingdom Gazette, and the Chinese government is obviously after iPhone, leading to a drop in sales. Wait, Chinese consumers love iPhone again. Wait, all anyone wants now is Huawei, and besides, there's no foldable iPhone, and besides, it doesn't have its own AI. Wait, Chinese consumers love iPhone again. That last one seems to be where we are now. New numbers from Counterpoint research by way of financial site Morningstar show iPhone as the top-selling smartphone in China in May. One could get motion sickness. Worth noting, sales for iPhone were up all over the planet by Counterpoint's count. In addition to the good news in China, the firm is said to have tracked double-digit sales growth for iPhone in Japan, the Middle East, and India. According to the report, global sales of iPhones rose 15% in April and May compared with the same period a year earlier, helping Apple clinch its highest market share for the 2-month period since the pandemic. Well, how did it do that without a smarter Siri and all the AI stuff that Apple is said to have missed out on? Yeah, it turns out most people don't give a bleep. At least not now. Counterpoint Research Director Jeff Fieldhack is quoted as saying, "Increasing US and especially Chinese demand at this point in time tells me that the need for agentic AI is not quite a factor yet in the decision process for most smartphone buyers, certainly not for those looking to upgrade an iPhone." Fieldhack thinks that gives Apple some breathing room, according to the report, and he is an interesting company where that's concerned. After last week's WWDC keynote, Daniel Howley at Yahoo Finance said he likes Apple's focus on letting developers play with the iPhone's AI underpinnings rather than hitting with a unified AI power of its own. Wedbush analyst Daniel Ives indicated, in sort of a nervous-sounding way, that this will be a focus for investors for the next year. Meanwhile, just ahead of WWDC, Deepwater Assets' Gene Munster comfortably said, Apple's got a couple of years to get its AI act together. No foldable, no AI, no problem? One could get motion sickness. iPhone production in India seems to be firing on all cylinders. Cult of Mac highlights a Reuters report that says nearly all the iPhones exported by Foxconn from India went to the US between March and May. If you're wondering how many nearly all is, it is 97%, according to the report. Yeah, I know it's not a number, but it is nearly all of however many it is. While Tata Electronics probably doesn't make nearly the number of iPhones that Foxconn does, most of their India iPhone production was US-bound as well. For March and April, 86% of that company's India iPhone output went to the US, according to the report. Finding and fixing problems is part of what betas are for. To that end, a piece from Mac Rumors says Apple released a revised iOS 26 developer beta on Friday. According to the report, the revised beta addresses an issue that could cause some iPhone 15 and iPhone 16 models to show a low battery symbol and be unable to start after updating to the initial iOS 26 beta. Yeah, that's probably the kind of thing you want to work out before public beta season begins, so well done. For developers looking for a more human touch than Apple's remote WWDC affords, the company is taking the show on tour. Following the close of its week-long developer conference, a piece from 9 to 5 Mac says Apple has scheduled a worldwide series of in-person events and online appointments to give developers, designers, and product managers a closer look at what's new. Called Explore the Biggest Updates from WWDC 25, the report says the sessions aim to highlight key technologies unveiled during the conference, including updates to Apple Intelligence, Vision OS, developer tools, and cross-platform app design. I gotta say, all of that sounds great, but I hate that name. Explore the biggest updates from WWDC 25. How about Developalooza? The first event starts this week, Thursday, the 19th of June in Singapore, Ho Chi Minh City, and Jakarta. Next stop, London, on the 23rd of June. Other stops along the way include, but are apparently not limited to, Paris, Stockholm, Toronto, Tokyo, Berlin, New York City, Madrid, Warsaw, Sao Paulo, Bengaluru, Gurugram, Mexico City, Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, Vancouver, and Miami. More info is available on Apple's developer site. Apple's not the only tech company throwing out betas. A piece from iDownload blog says Valve's online game store Steam has announced the release of a new Steam client beta that runs natively on Apple Silicon Macs without the need for Rosetta 2. Makes sense, since that's going away. In addition to axing support for Intel-based Macs after macOS 26, the company said last week that Rosetta 2 will be deprecated after macOS 27. Rosetta 2 allows apps containing x86-64 instructions to be run on Apple's ARM-based silicon, according to the report. While Rosetta 2 will be around for another couple of years by the sound of it, Steam seems to be planning ahead. And that sounds like good news for users. iDownload blog says a fully native build will be able to take better advantage of Apple's lightweight and performant hardware. Users can expect faster and more responsive app behavior, including app launches, navigation, and page changes, among other things. Apple Music has a trick planned for the iPhone lock screen, though it won't be the only one doing that trick. According to a piece from 9 to 5 Mac, one of the stylish visual changes to iPhone on iOS 26 is a new layout for the lock screen when music is playing. Artwork can now be animated and shown full screen on the iPhone display, with playback controls resting on a platter of liquid glass. Something only Apple could do? Nope. 9 to 5 Mac says the company is making an API available that'll let Spotify and Deezer and all the other music streamers provide an animated video clip to the system for display on the lock screen, as well as placeholder artwork while the video loads. Of course, that doesn't mean third-party providers will adopt the feature, but it'll be there if they want to. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Insta360 and their 360-degree camera, X5. Did you catch the Insta360 news at WWDC last week? The next operating system for Apple Vision Pro is getting support for 180-degree, 360-degree, and wide field of view content shot on a number of cameras, including cameras from Insta360. That sounds like something between a vote of confidence and a seal of approval to me. Even if you don't have one of Apple's headsets today, why not catch this summer's fun with the best Insta360 has to offer, the X5? It features 8K 360-degree video and enhanced low-light performance for all-angle shooting, day or night. The lenses are made from tough optical glass, making it ready for rough and tumble shooting, and you can even take it in the drink. It's good to shoot underwater down to 49 feet without dive housing. There's a full summer ahead. Catch it all with the Insta360 X5. Head to store.insta360.com to see what they have and use code MacOSKen for a free 45-inch selfie stick with your X5 standard bundle purchase. The pole disappears from 360-degree footage, leaving people to wonder how you get the shots you got. It's a $24.99 value, but it is free for the first 30 people who go to store.insta360.com and buy an X5 standard bundle with code MacOSKen. Shoot every angle at once. Get your free invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle with code MacOSKen. Don't forget that code MacOSKen at store.insta360.com. If your M2 Mac Mini won't power up, a new Apple service program may have you covered. According to a piece from my Download blog, a small batch of those machines seem to be having that issue, specifically devices made between the middle of June and the third week of November last year. A visit to the service program site lets users enter their machine serial number, which is usually on the Mini's underside according to the report. If the Mac won't power on and it does show as repair eligible, the user can take it to an Apple store or an Apple authorized service provider to have the issue addressed. While Apple Care Plus would probably cover that repair, since this one's on Apple, so is the service. In fact, the report says if you're out of warranty, this service program covers affected Mac Mini systems for up to 3 years after the first retail sale of the unit. More info is available on Apple's site. Staying on the sort of old hardware tip, recent MacBook Air models have hit Apple's Refurbished offerings. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company slotted both the 13-inch and 15-inch M4 MacBook Air in among the refurbs on Friday. While the piece points out that refurbished stock tends to fluctuate, they hit the store late last week with over 30 options from which to choose. Units are cleaned and tested and come complete with a 1-year warranty, plus Apple Care Plus as an option plus. Discounted by about 15%, the entry-level 13-inch machine starts at $849. That's a savings of $150 off the truly new price of $999. If you've got an iPhone XS, handle it with care. Mac Rumors says Apple put that phone on its vintage list on Friday. The XS was released in September of 2018 and discontinued a year later, according to the report. If that is the case, it's kind of weird that it's taken as long as it has to make the vintage list. Apple deems a device as vintage once it's been off the market for more than 5 years, but less than 7. Whatever the case, it's good news for people still toting that phone. Vintage means, should there be an issue, Apple and its authorized service providers will still service that phone, provided there are parts available to do so. And finally today, if you've got a 5th generation iPad, you want to treat that with kid gloves. It was moved from vintage to obsolete, according to the same Mac Rumors piece. Obsolete is a designation reserved for devices that have been off the market for 7 years or more. Neither Apple nor its authorized service providers provide service for machines on the obsolete list. MacOSKen, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Insta360's new X5. Get an invisible selfie stick when you buy an X5 standard bundle at store.insta360.com with code MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, MacOSCan at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macoscan.com. Until next time, that is news from macOSCan. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.